Okay, mic test, visual test. Is everything okay? Please let me know. Once again, excited to be giving you another live stream. These are always very, very good. And quite a few important things I want to cover with you in today's live stream. This is where the market slips back into what I would consider to be more normal, healthy territory. And that's absolutely a very good thing, and I want to tell you all about why that is within this live stream. As usual, I'm going to be taking your questions. I'm going to be analyzing the charts you want me to look at and different things like that, so just drop these things as we go along. Thank you for telling me everything's good. And so here's the thing. I'm on the Ethereum chart right now, and I'm going to use this one, but the analysis is the same for Bitcoin anyway. I'm just going to use Ethereum because I think it was a bit cleaner. And what we had was our big test up to $470 on Ethereum. Oh, this is Bitcoin now, I'm sorry. On Ethereum, up to $470. And then on Bitcoin, this was $16,000. And then the price dropped quite quickly down to $420. Or on Bitcoin's chart, it fell down to... where did it fall down to? Let me check. It fell down to $14,300. So this was a $1,700 sell-off for Bitcoin, and it was quite a substantial sell-off for Ethereum as well. Definitely showing us on all cylinders here that this was quite an important bit of price action. Definitely an important retracement, in my opinion. Definitely something that I would consider to be one of the more important moves in the market. And I think that's absolutely great because I've been talking to you throughout this trend that, talking to you about, pullbacks throughout this trend where I would be very happy to see this trend coming down to test areas of support or rather areas that used to be resistance now coming down to test them as support. And this one over here at 420 I think was a very clear test. Unfortunately, Ethereum didn't go all the way down to 420. It actually bottomed out at 423, but I think it's close enough just to prove the point here that this level has been important for Ethereum throughout its price history, especially over the past couple of months. And so to see that Ethereum has come down to the price of, there's a support of roughly 420 and now started to scale back up, I think is really, really good. Again, it's the same picture for Bitcoin. It's just not as clear because unfortunately, Bitcoin didn't come down as low as its old resistance area at 14k. Bitcoin only came down to 14.3, but the actual support level was closer to 13.9. So unfortunately, Bitcoin did miss out on completely filling these support areas. But I mean, sometimes that doesn't really matter, and it's the best that we're going to get in the market. One of the ways we can tell if it's the best that we're going to get is by throwing a Fibonacci retracement onto the chart, because if it is a crucial, important Fibonacci level that the price fell down to and then bounced from, that usually to me is good enough to tell me that actually, yeah, this did count as a true bottom. On this chart, we can see with this Fibonacci retracement, this wick nearly takes us to the 618 level. It actually overshoots it a little bit, so we don't have a hugely significant fib level off here. If we measure this from where we established support in the $12,000 area, then yes, we did fall down exactly to the 0.5 level. And if we measure this down to, let's say a little bit lower where I would consider this midterm trend to have started, we came down, relatively close to the 0.236 Fibonacci level. And this is actually where I start to get a little bit more concerned for the chart. As you can see, the title of this live stream is me asking you about, well, have the crypto markets dried up again? And obviously, I don't think that the answer is always going to be clear to these kind of things. I don't necessarily think it has dried up again. But what I am concerned about is how we have had our big test of support. And on Bitcoin especially, although also even on Ethereum, this test of support wasn't very conclusive in my opinion. We didn't come down to hugely significant levels. We came down to, for Bitcoin, 14.3, which is where this wick bottoms out. And actually, I don't think there's any price history there. I don't think there's any significance to this price level throughout Bitcoin's entire history. There might be just one or two hits, but nothing spectacular at all. And again, that's concerning because it's very close by the actual support level, right? The 13.8, 13.9 level, which we can see quite clearly on this Coinbase chart that I have for Bitcoin, which I've already drawn. You know, this support level down here was only a couple $100 away from where we bottomed out yesterday. So I'm honestly, I'm a little bit confused and upset that Bitcoin hasn't been able to fully come down to these levels. And it's the same for Ethereum. I mentioned to you that Ethereum, unfortunately, didn't actually come all the way down to this $420 area. And this means two things in these kind of markets a lot of the time. It either means that there is going to be a bigger drop coming next for this market, which would make sense. You know, we have the start of that. We potentially have the start of a falling wedge formation, so we might end up trading lower if we start looking at larger time frames. We've definitely now got, you know, the start of some bearish divergences. Take a look at this. Our bearish divergence on Bitcoin started all the way over here on the RSI. RSI is trending lower. Price is trending higher. So this is a sign that the price could end up dipping a little bit lower. Not a very big sign, not a very important sign in my opinion, but still a sign nonetheless. And so this is also something for me to keep in mind. It definitely, to me, looks like it could be a case of Bitcoin potentially starting to trade a little bit lower just because the larger time frames say that Bitcoin might need a bit more of a breather. Sticking to the first possibility here again, we've also got important support, which is quite low compared to where we are at the moment. On the daily chart, this Ichimoku cloud is only hovering around the $13,000 area. And that to me is concerning because it's quite a long way down to get there. It's also a similar story on the 4-hour chart. Our Ichimoku cloud on the 4-hour chart, which is usually a much more aggressive time frame, it is right here at the 14K level. And you know, in order to reach this level now over the next couple of days, we will still have to drop by another $1,400 to get here. That's definitely not crazy for Bitcoin at the moment, in my opinion. I think that's entirely possible for Bitcoin to drop by about $1,400 from here, and that would place it around this support level. So this is to say that there is a lot of support. But the other thing that it could mean in this kind of market, and it's what happened to Bitcoin way back in you know, late 2018, I believe, is let's go over to what we saw over here with this bottoming out formation, right? What we had in this case when Bitcoin bottomed out at the $3,000 range was Bitcoin did not come back down to test this low again. It really, I think it should have, and it would have made a lot of sense if we did, because it would have really strengthened the rally for the rest of its life cycle, but it didn't. And you know, Bitcoin in this case was only able to fall down to 3,300 until people bought it back up again. It wasn't able to complete a double bottom formation at 3,100. This is a sign of a market starting to become very, very bullish. And obviously it was the case over here. This market turned out to be extremely bullish, and Bitcoin just kind of exploded because, I mean, this is a representation quite simply of, yeah, the price wanted to come down here. It wanted to form a double bottom, obviously, because it trended lower, but the buyers were too excited and the bears became too weak at this price level, so the price had nowhere to go but up. And as you can see from this point onwards, right from this very point here where we should have formed a double bottom, but we didn't, and we got this big pump right here, it was literally after this candle that Bitcoin never really traded lower again, and actually never came back down to this price area until this flash crash over here with the coronavirus dump that we saw just across the world. This happened in March of 2020, so this was about going back like 7 months ago, 8 months ago now, you know, where we had this big flash crash. And I don't, you know, in this case with the coronavirus literally being a black swan event, I'm not even going to count this. So I'm actually going to go as far as saying that Bitcoin has never really come back down to this price level since that point. And it just goes to show that I think a big part of that came from the fact that Bitcoin couldn't set a double bottom because the bulls were just too aggressive and they didn't let Bitcoin drop that low ever again. Even during this market crash, Bitcoin only came down to 3,800, 3,900, depending on which chart you're looking at. So if we bring that back to the analysis that we have right now on this very chart, then I think what this is showing is that yes, it would have been perfect for Bitcoin to drop a little bit lower down to 13,900, something like that, around this range. It would have been really, really good. But this actually looks a lot like the price action that we saw on Bitcoin back when it was bottoming out a very, very long time ago at the end of 2018, which is to say simply that Bitcoin actually isn't able to drop as low as these kind of price areas because the bulls get too excited. And we have a lot of evidence of that. If we zoom into, for example, the 5-minute time frame and we really look at when this thing pumped up, we can see a lot more sell side volume than green volume, but that's typical of the entire trend, so I don't think that's anything to point out. But just looking at the actual candles, we did end up dumping down quite quickly, but look at how quickly we reversed. I mean, this is a perfect V-shape correction, and those are usually quite significant in markets. Those usually show you that people really, really think that the true direction of this market is in the upward direction, and that gives me a lot of faith. Since then, Bitcoin has, just like what happened at the end of 2018, has just continued to set higher highs and higher lows. It hasn't come back down to these price levels. So this is an indication that actually, we are supposed to be coming down to these support areas, but there is so much bullish energy that the price can't get there. It can't do it. That's actually a really good sign. The problem is that it makes it really dangerous because you don't really know which one it is. You don't know if actually Bitcoin hasn't fulfilled it yet, so it's going to come back down to do that, or if actually, that this market is too ferocious and it's just going to keep trading higher from here. Because the other piece of good news for this market now, in my opinion, is that the CME market reopens now. It reopens within the next 2 hours, and where CME closed would have been around this price level, and it would have left a big gap on the chart. If Bitcoin was trading down here, we would have had a big gap around this price area if the CME market opened today and Bitcoin was still down here, but instead now there isn't really going to be a gap, and I think that is very, very reassuring. Just very quickly, I'm not seeing any new comments in the live chat at the moment, and that's very unusual. So either you guys are not typing or I have connection issues. It turns out I have connection issues because I've just refreshed it and I see some chat messages now. So just again, if you could let me know if everything is good, if audio and video are all good, you can see everything in HD, that would be very good. Thank you. But that kind of brings us back to over here, where it's now a case of considering, look, do you think that this market has a lot of bullish energy? Because if so, then this thing could pop off very, very soon. Do you think that actually it does need to come down and do the sensible thing? And if that's the case, then actually, we will see another drop a little bit lower. And okay, seeing everything very, very good. Everyone's active in the chat, so that's good. And so that's one of the things I'm considering at the moment. The other thing that I'm looking at is the possibility of forming a symmetrical triangle. And the reason I think that's quite possible within this market at the moment, forming a symmetrical triangle, is because at the moment within this market, we haven't actually we've had nice areas of consolidation, but we haven't had a very, very large one yet. We haven't had a large consolidation. The last time we had a long-term consolidation within this market would have been, I don't know, maybe this. I don't know if you would count that. Probably this right here. This was about. I can't even remember. This was either 30 days or 80 days. Yeah, it was more like 80 days. My bad. I've got a very bad memory. and so I think it would make sense if Bitcoin now kind of entered some sort of formation that looked a little bit like this, because what this would mean is that Bitcoin would be, and this kind of time frame, I have drawn this to scale for what I would expect as far as time frames go. This would place us towards the end of November, and this would mean our entire consolidation period would have taken us 15 days, 2 weeks, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Our last consolidation period, the one we had over here where we were trading in a rising wedge, and I mentioned to you this is typically bullish. This one lasted 14 days, and so if we do this again, we are looking at a 14-day time period for Bitcoin to kind of consolidate sideways. I think this would make a lot of sense, but my only problem with this theory, this idea, is that usually we get these kind of consolidations, these longer-term consolidations, usually we get these in front of heavy resistance areas. And the truth is, just in my opinion, $16,000 is not a heavy resistance area. So I actually don't see any reason for Bitcoin to slow down at this price area. And if we do, then actually I would start to think that that's a sign of weakness, because there shouldn't be any reason for Bitcoin to struggle over here. You know, this is kind of like you've got a young kid who's, 8 years old, but he can't climb up the stairs. I mean, like in an 80-year-old man, that's not unusual, because that's a lifetime of strain on the body. So of course it's not easy to stay active anymore and do things like climbing up the stairs, but it's a very, very simple task for an 8-year-old to do. And if the 8-year-old can't do it, that's seriously concerning. And that's what I see for Bitcoin as well, with another one of my terrible analogies, because I think that this is something Bitcoin should be able to do very quickly, rising higher, because this isn't a real support area. This isn't a real resistance area, in my opinion. So if we do start trading sideways, actually, I would start to think that, yeah, we might end up tumbling lower. I have to keep reminding you guys that Bitcoin can do this and does do this. It's very typical for Bitcoin to form, just really, really big, dismal market crashes a lot of the time when people don't really expect them, and they're quite relentless. They happen all the time on Bitcoin's chart. And just to put this into perspective for you, we haven't had one for quite a while now. I'm actually curious. I want to measure out how long it's been between each one of these little price action periods, just to make a point here. Between this big dump and the beginning of this one, it was 45 days. Between this one and the beginning of this one, it was 90 days. Between this one and this one here, it was 170, although maybe you want to count this one, so actually it's 53 days. And that's all to say that right now, from the last time we've had one of these big dumps to where we are at the moment, it's now been 66 days, and we're averaging somewhere between 45 days and 90 days between each of these big dumps. This is very unscientific, and it absolutely doesn't mean that Bitcoin is due to have a big sell-off every 45 to 90 days, but the reason I've shown you this is just to show you that actually it's been a long time since Bitcoin has had one of those big sell-offs. And I personally believe in characteristics of markets repeating themselves all the time. Bitcoin does that all the time. One of the classic ways Bitcoin loves to repeat its characteristics is breaking above from rising wedges, which is very atypical, very unusual within the financial markets, but Bitcoin does it all the time. Bitcoin loves to repeat characteristics, and one of its characteristics, undeniably, is seeing big sell-offs like these ones over here, quite relentless ones, right? And we haven't seen any of those for quite a while, and that's just me thinking, well, look, I mean, these things are really popping off right now. There is still uncertainty around the US election. This has got to be like the most entertaining US election ever. It's just perfect reality show drama. And because of that, I mean, I think it really could shake up the markets. I have to. I'm looking at, for those of you who aren't following, Biden won, and Trump is trying to file lawsuits to win, because he thinks a lot of these votes were done illegally, and it's incredibly entertaining, in my opinion, because no one really expected Trump to get elected in 2016, and it's just been, almost, I'm going to call them gray swans. It's not quite black swan events. It's not extremely, extremely, extremely unlikely things, but it's quite shocking results, followed by shocking results, followed by shocking results. And if Donald Trump does manage to overturn the election and get his way and then win the presidential race, I wouldn't be surprised, because it's just one of those weird 2020 things. You know what I mean? Like, this is very much a time for extremely unusual things to be happening across the world, and how that would affect this market, I don't know. But I do have to question if this trend can stay bullish, and then knowing the characteristic of Bitcoin tending to, kind of sell off quite strongly every, couple of months. Is that going to happen again? Are we due for it right now? Well, I think one of the things that certainly increases our risk of doing that, and you guys are not going to like this, but I think one of the things that really increases our risk of doing that is having a parabolic run, because parabolic runs are not sustainable. We've seen that time and time again. Every parabolic run, without exception, ends in disaster for Bitcoin, and we're in a parabolic run right now. So I absolutely, this is where I have a very, very strong opinion. I think that if this can't consolidate and trade sideways or trade lower and confirm support areas, or if it can't cool off and do something sensible for a long time, you know, like for a month, then I think we are looking at a big dump coming up. It happens at the end of every parabolic run. And I mean, that's not to say it's going to happen here. It could be that Bitcoin rises up to 20K and then it has a big drop, you know, down to 10K, just like last time. It could be that that's what happens. I don't know, but the point is, parabolic runs almost always end that way for Bitcoin, and I see absolutely no reason to say that this time will be different. We are in a parabolic run. This is not sustainable, and if we can start to kind of you know, come down to confirm old support areas, that I think is what's going to give me a lot of confidence within this market. I'm going to throw up some of my notes and also take a look at some of your questions now as well, because there are a couple things that my analyst wanted me to take a look at. So let me pull that up. While we're doing this, oh yes, YFI looks beautiful. I'm going to cover that with you guys in a second. Yeah, he's talking about the V-shaped correction as well. Yeah, I mean, you know, and this is so just to continue on from there, the other thing though is that if Bitcoin is able to you know, rise above this high that it's set at $16,000, I think that it will start to shoot up again, because the nature of this market at the moment, the way I'm seeing it, is that it's very tense and very easy to pop off and get really, really violent again. And because of that, I think that if this thing does start to pop off again, if we do start clearing resistance areas, it's going to be very easy and very quick for bulls to really very, very quickly enter the market again and shoot this price up. And my main target for Bitcoin will be this $17,000 area right here. This is where I'm expecting Bitcoin to go to, and then potentially encounter some trouble. But again, I have to zoom out and tell you the same thing all over again, that actually in this chart, in my opinion, the resistance just gets weaker and weaker and weaker as we trade higher. So it should be easier to keep trading higher as well. The difference is, and the crucial thing to understand is, that when we are making these moves higher, it's always healthier, in my opinion, to do them slowly. I'm going to show you how this worked back in 2016. Take a look at this. We had our big boring bear market. We had a massive parabolic run. This is another example of where it ends in disaster for Bitcoin. And then the next time, I'm going to make this point very, very clear to you now. From $200, right, from $200 up to $1,200. Let me zoom in now so I can make this point super. In fact, let me use the BLX chart because I don't have any drawings here. I'm just gonna show you some time frames now, which should hopefully really put this into some quite useful perspective for you. Looking at, you know, when Bitcoin hit $200, and look at this, right, another parabolic run, and it just ends in disaster for Bitcoin. But over here, from $200 to $1,100 took Bitcoin 30 days. So that's a very, very big increase. We're talking about a 6 times gain happening in 30 days. Very, very big. The next time it happened, from here, going from $200 to $1,200, what is this? The next time it happens, it takes 500 days. So it's a different, I mean, it's 30 days compared to 500 days. And which one stuck? You know, like which bit of price action actually kept Bitcoin higher? It's very, very clear. When we made this move very quickly, it wasn't sustainable and we entered a multi-year bear market. When we did it slowly and sensibly, we never came back down to this price level ever since. The lowest we came down to was 3,100, which was still orders of magnitude higher than our previous high. I mean, this is, you know, a 3 times gain just to get to our low of 2018. So I think this paints a very, very clear picture. Sorry, by the way, this happened at the beginning of 2019 and end of 2018. I got those dates wrong, but there you go. Just a very, very quick demonstration to show you that when these things happen quickly, it's not sustainable. I'm seeing a couple of comments saying that this isn't a parabolic run yet, and you know, Bitcoin hasn't really done that yet. And someone else said there were literally 20 parabolic runs as part of the 2017 bull market. You've got a good point. There were big parabolic runs throughout 2017, and again, all of these ended in big sell-offs. Take a look at this one here. This is a 37% sell-off. Over here, we start to really get a parabolic run. We drop by 37%. Over here, we drop by 36%. It's super typical for Bitcoin to drop anywhere between 20 and 40% when it's going parabolic. Look at this. I mean, it's with a very high success rate, down by 35%. You know, over here, down by 35%. And so it did end in disaster in the past as well. I mean, obviously the price kept going up, but for the short term, it dumped massively. And, you know, what does a 35% dump look like from here? Let's measure this. 35% down from here puts us all the way down at $10,000. I don't think that's going to be comfortable for you guys. I certainly wouldn't be happy with it either. The good news for Bitcoin is that it has a lot of support if it does come down to $10,000. But again, just to put this into perspective for you, when these things do go parabolic, it's usually followed up with a really big, violent sell-off. And yes, you're absolutely right, Ben. There were a lot of parabolic runs throughout 2017, but without failure, they always resulted in big dumps. And that's what I'm trying to say. I don't want Bitcoin to do this time. I want Bitcoin to just have a nice, steady, healthy rise up, like what happened. Well, it's not on this chart now, but like what happened when Bitcoin went from $200 to $1,000 the second time. That is what I'm looking for. That is what I'm interested in as a trader. Obviously, volatility is good, but healthy and predictable markets are always better. So that's what I'm seeing right there. I want to talk to you a little bit about YFI as well. This coin has seen some extremely interesting price action, and it is something that I've been preparing to trade. I already have a trade set up ready for this coin, and I've shared it with VIP members. I think it's going to absolutely pop off, and those of you who have been in VIP know how I've been killing it. You've seen how I've been killing it in these markets lately, really pulling absolutely mind-blowing gains within these markets. I can't even remember the percentages now. It's so stupid. It must have been over 200, maybe even 300% profit on Bitcoin that I pulled. You know, and I believe it was close to 90% profit on Ethereum a couple of days ago. Something really, really stupid. I got stopped out on the rest of my Ethereum position at 62% profit. It was really, really big. And I'm planning on doing the very, very same thing on YFI again. The nature of these markets is that at the moment it's so easy to pull really, really big gains, and that's because these markets are moving so aggressively. So I'm looking to do the same thing on YFI. I've already shared the details of that trade within the VIP group, and as I mentioned to you a couple videos back, we are temporarily reopening our massive 50% discount on VIP because Bitcoin has risen so high. So if you're interested in it, go ahead and pause this live stream right now and just reach out to me and then come back to this so you can see my analysis on YFI. But it's quite simple, and it's the same analysis that I gave you a long while back. I actually made a video specifically on YFI telling you that exactly this would happen, and it was very, very close. I mentioned to you that if YFI does drop below this $12,000 level, that I would expect it to come all the way down to $6,000. 6,000, I must have said 5,000 because that's where my line is, and we filled most of that. We came down all the way to $7,000 when we failed this final support level. Take a look at this. There is no other place on this chart that you can draw a support level at all. I mean, there is no other level of support below this $12,000 area, and that's why I predicted that if we do fall below this level, we would probably drop really, really badly. Since then, we did come down to a low of 7,500, which was coincidentally the high on the Binance chart on the day that this coin was listed. So I think that makes perfect sense. I mean, we fell down to exactly where this price peaked, where this chart peaked in August. I think that makes a lot of sense on a very, very volatile market like this. Small things like the high of the first day of trading can definitely hold a lot of weight in this market. And since then, this coin has absolutely popped off and more than doubled. It went all the way up to $17,000, perfectly hitting my resistance line. Look at this. I mean, these lines I drew for you in a video that was a couple of weeks ago at least, and it's still completely 100% accurate, which is so impressive. We ended up hitting this resistance area. We knew it was resistance because there was a lot of price interaction at this price level, and then we came down to the $12,000 support area that I drew for you as well. So very, very predictable price action on this chart at the moment, and right now we're just kind of consolidating around the $15,000 level. If things start to get bad for this market again, I think YFI is going to get absolutely destroyed again, and I've given you all of the reasons for that, but they mainly revolve around the fact that most people don't care about YFI. They don't really care about holding it or buying it or what it does, and that they're only jumping on the bandwagon to make money. So as soon as their ability to make money is gone, you see really, really big sell-offs. And one of the big things I want to highlight to you is that this drop might not look like a lot to you because, I mean, you know, there is a lot of drops on this chart. And if I take off all my lines, you can see that very clearly. You know, from $12,000 down to $7,500 might not look like a big deal. But if we measure this using my ruler tool, this is actually a really big sell-off. This is minus 37%. This is saying if you put $100 into YFI over here, you would have, oh, I'm terrible at math. Why do I do this? You would have $63 left. That's a really, really big drop. You've just lost 37% of your money from this drop. And I mean, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. From the top of this chart, as far as I can see up down to where you are here, you know, you would only be left with $22. If you started with $100. And by the way, just to put this into perspective, this is only in the space of about 50 days. So within 50 days, you would lose 80% of your money on this chart. I mean, it is such a clear demonstration of how people don't give a shit about this coin. They really, really don't care. They're just buying it to ride a bandwagon higher, which is completely fine. I mean, you know, I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with that. It's just important that viewers of this channel know that, like, be aware of it, so that, you know what you're dealing with, because you are dealing with something that's quite dangerous. And if you don't know that it's dangerous, then you're gambling. So, and gamblers never win. So, you know, that's my perspective on this chart at the moment. And I think that if stuff does start to get bad for this coin again, or just for the market in general, I think that this is going to dip very, very low. And again, it doesn't really have support below this $12,000 line. So it could end up dropping very, very low. I'm targeting a really big trade, a very, very big profit on this coin, trading it in the downside, but also to the upside does look very, very lucrative, although potentially a little bit more difficult as well. Like I said, I've shared all of the details of that trade within the VIP group, and we've had so many members just absolutely killing it inside of the group across this entire year. Once again, this person, I don't have the fresh testimonials. I keep forgetting to put them on these videos, but we have so many very, very fresh ones. But this one was definitely still one of the more impressive ones we received this year, because this member had never traded in his life before, and then he joined VIP, and his first ever trade he closed a 60% profit. That was his first ever trade. It is so impressive. This member over here doing quite the same thing again, his first trade ever inside of the VIP group, making over 300% profit, and then paying off his VIP membership inside of a week, within less than a week of joining. Super impressive results. Obviously not typical, not everyone is getting these kind of results, but if you do want to gain access to VIP and see what these people had access to in order to pull these kind of gains, what they had access to learn from, it is so powerful. And like with everything I trade, including this YFI trade that I'm looking to make, I will tell VIP members exactly what I'm planning to do, down to the exact entry levels I'm choosing and the exact leverage I'm choosing, and then all of the real-time updates once that position is open, and then breaking down that trade in hindsight as well, giving you all of the reasons for why I picked certain levels. An extremely powerful learning experience, and I think one of the big reasons that this learning experience is so powerful is that you see exactly how I'm trading, and you can learn from exactly how I'm trading in real time, where you and I both don't know the answer to what's going to happen in the market, and I've got only the same information that you have access to, and you can see how I'm using that information to trade in the best, safest, healthiest way that I possibly can. Seeing that has resulted in really amazing results for so many VIP members. And if you want to jump into that, take advantage of our very temporary reopened 50% discount on VIP, then reach out to find out exactly what those steps consist of right now, and we'll get you in the group. Another thing that I want to take your attention to is the Link chart, because on Link we have a very nice setup at the moment where Link has a lot of resistance at this $13 level. You can see for quite a while that, you know, there was a little bit of consolidation here. There was a big market reversal at the $13 level, a lot of resistance here, and we did manage to break above it now. And this is what's very interesting. I think that if Link can break above this level, it's going to pump right up to $15. I think that's that's going to be very likely for two reasons. First of all, this is a actually for three reasons. This is a big resistance area, and usually when you clear big resistance areas, you start flying. That's just what I've seen in my experience. But also the fact that Bitcoin right now has a lot of upward headspace, right? So it could continue on its parabolic run and go all the way up to $17,000, $20,000, whatever. And I think Link can end up really taking advantage of that bullish momentum and moving up massively. That's reason number two. And then reason number three is that Link at the moment, it's had a very good reputation for just completely blowing up when things get exciting. So I definitely think that Link has it in it. Actually, an even better reason number three is that we've tried to break it so many times since the 3rd of September. Let's actually count this real quick. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 6th time we managed to break it, although we came right back down the very next day, or even the same day. Yeah, we came back down within the same 24-hour period, and now we're trying it again. And this is what's very, very exciting to me. Link at the moment, I think, has already shown us that it now has the strength to break above this 382 resistance line at $13. And because it's shown us that it already has the strength to do that, if it's coming back for round 2, I think it's going to be even stronger, especially if this market now pops off as well and starts breaking resistance areas, especially if Bitcoin is able to start breaking resistance. I think this coin is going to absolutely pop off like a champagne cork. I am very, very interested in how this price action might end up playing out. And again, this is something that I've shared the exact details on how I plan to trade within the VIP group. VIPs already know what I'm doing, and I get a lot of questions about this, but as usual, I mean, these trades that I'm making, I usually tell VIP members, I mean, I'm talking like 95% of the time, I tell VIP members days in advance about any trades I'm planning to make, because I'm not a day trader. I don't trade like a million times a day. Although lately I've been trading a lot more frequently, but I still give a lot of prior notice to VIP members before I enter a trade, because I plan these things very far in advance. I don't just make a trade on a whim just because I feel like it. Like, these are things that are developing constantly throughout the days, and I give VIP members a lot of notice about it. It's actually very rare that I enter a position and then tell VIP members about it with short notice, with less than a couple of hours. Usually I tell them days in advance and then many hours in advance again before that trade opens, and that's exactly what I've done with Link as well. So if you want to see how I plan on trading Link, if you want to see how I plan on trading YFI and re-entering my Ethereum position, there is so much I'm doing in this market right now. I've consistently been booking very, very, very impressive results within this market, and I plan on continuing to do that. Obviously, still in a very, very big gain on Bitcoin as well. If you want to see how I'm going to be manipulating that and continuing to move forward, then VIP once again is where it's at, with our big temporary 50% discount, which you can gain access to by following these steps right here. Got a question. Somebody wants me to take a look at Ethereum. Very good choice. I also want to look at Ethereum. What's interesting about Ethereum over here is, like I said, we didn't actually come down to hit this support area, but if we measure it by percentage points, we didn't come far away. I mean, this is only 0.4% away from this support area. So we can definitely count this as confirming the support area, which to me is disappointing because I wanted to enter a long position and my orders didn't get filled because we didn't drop low enough. But what I'm not such a huge fan of is, like, yes, we did end up, and this is super important, we did have resistance at $440 and we didn't end up breaking above it, but in both cases we haven't really rallied higher since that point, and I actually expected Ethereum to rally quite high after this happened, but it didn't. It couldn't do that, and I actually am a little bit concerned by that. That's what happened last time Ethereum managed to break above this line. Take a look at this. Ethereum managed to break above this line and it found resistance at a completely random point on the chart at $480. There's absolutely no reason to find resistance at this price level, in my opinion, yet Ethereum still did, and Ethereum got rejected. So I am definitely a little bit concerned that we're looking at part 2 of that. Right now we have a classic lower highs formation, and I really hope that it doesn't stick. There is one saving grace for Ethereum right now, and it is a big sign which I'm very excited about. I'm seeing a couple questions of people asking me to look at things that I've already looked at. I've already looked at the V-shaped recovery on Bitcoin. I've already looked at Link. So just rewind this live stream and start it from the beginning, and you'll see everything that I've been doing. But right here, Ethereum has managed to break above this resistance area, which is in itself a very, very good sign. And like I said, I would have expected it to rally higher, but right now I think it's doing something even better than that, which is coming back down to this old area of resistance and now potentially testing it as a new area of support. So if we can come a little bit lower, if Ethereum can drop a little bit lower, closer to this general support area, and then get a bounce off it, I would become extremely excited with this market, and that means I would get exactly what I want as far as healthy price action goes. This, to me, would be enough to tell me that actually Ethereum is ready to pop off. In normal circumstances, this wouldn't be enough because it's not... This $440 level is not a big area of support. It's just an interesting area. But that's the same with everything in the market at the moment, because the truth is these coins, including Bitcoin, they haven't really traded around, Bitcoin at $15,000, for example. They haven't really traded at $15,000 for a long time. And that means there isn't really any real support or resistance. It's all, it becomes a lot more subjective at this point, a lot less objective as well. However, given how bullish this trend has been, it's also quite clear, looking at Bitcoin didn't need to come all the way down to its support area at 13.9. There was just so much bullish energy that carried Bitcoin higher. So if this really is the case and Bitcoin doesn't need to come back down to fully retest this support area, then what that means for Bitcoin, in my opinion, what that means for Ethereum, in my opinion, is that just getting a small hit off this support area is enough. The bulls, and this is really, really important now, the bulls do not need a lot to be impressed at the moment, because the truth is this market has rallied very high very, very quickly. Within the space of 3 days, pumped up by 27%, and so 26% even. So the bulls are already very, very impressed, and all they need are small nudges in order to come back and start buying up the market. I'm trying to think of an analogy. It'd probably be like, you've got these BMW fanboys, people who always just die over BMW cars, and all it will take for BMW is to have one small extra new thing that will really set people off and get these fanboys very, very excited over the BMW, like an indicator stalk, and... And because of that small addition, people will just rush in to buy it. And I think that it's quite the same thing with Bitcoin right now. It's just impressed so many people that, with crypto, it's impressed so many people at the moment that it doesn't need to do anything particularly groundbreaking. It just needs to do something nice, and it's going to be enough to set this market trading higher again. That's a little bit disappointing because, like I said, I want to see us actually coming down to test these support areas, but it looks like we're not going to do it. And there's no point crying over spilled milk, pretty much, where actually I can't really control that. There's nothing I can do about it. And so if Bitcoin doesn't come down to the support area, it's like last time when Bitcoin didn't come down to 3,100 again. You're like, so what? Not the end of the world. There's always new trading opportunities. It's just I'm always a little bit sour about that because I'm always looking for the perfect entry, or like, especially when the entry is very predictable. Like, it would be very predictable to go long off this level. A very, very easy trade for me, and that's something like I love making easy trades. This is something that a lot of people don't understand. And I would turn my face cam on right now, my webcam, but I need a haircut and I look disgusting. But, this is something a lot of people don't understand in the game of trading, where it doesn't need to be difficult, right? It doesn't need to be hard to make money within this game. But a lot of people will initially struggle with it, and they will think that it is difficult, and they will overcomplicate it in their minds, where actually it's not that difficult at all to make money in the game of trading. You just need to do your analysis in as objective of a way as possible, and then keep monitoring it, and don't rush into trades, and pick the safest opportunities, and there are always a lot of opportunities to pick from. This is exactly what I aim to show you inside of the VIP group. It's what I do all the time. It's what I've been doing across these weeks, and showing VIP members how I've been constantly placing my my trades in what I would consider to be the safest ways possible. And this, it's been quite a mind-blowing experience for a lot of people, because like I said, it doesn't need to be difficult to make money inside of these markets. It's just that people tend to overcomplicate it because they're not good traders, and it doesn't need to be that way. I'm showing you how that is the case inside of the VIP group. Very, very important content in there as a result. But that's what I'm seeing with Bitcoin at the moment. Just want to go through some more of these comments. So like I said, if you do have any questions, drop them in the comments. Somebody's asking, where do I see Ethereum in mid 2021? I don't know, you might be new to the channel, but I don't give long-term analysis on these markets. Mid 2021 is June next year, and that is 8 months away. I mean, I can't even like visualize 8 months in the future because I'm so young. So I have no idea, and I really don't care either, because I can't trade anything that's gonna happen 8 months away. I can only trade what's gonna happen over the next week, next month, at most. Probably not even next month. I'm only looking at what's going to happen in the next couple of days, next week or so, and that's all that I'm interested in. So I have no idea. I really couldn't answer that. Where will you be going to trade leverage after Jan 6 UK ban? Hey Crypto Sam. So yeah, I mean, in the UK, it's only companies that are not allowed to offer leverage products to UK citizens. So if the company doesn't care about it and they're just offering it anyway, then I mean the UK clients are still allowed to do it. It's just companies that can't offer it. So very, very weird bit of legislation there. I'm just going to keep doing what I always do, because I don't offer leverage products, so it doesn't apply to me. That's a problem for exchanges, and they've got their fancy lawyers, so they can deal with that. As far as I'm concerned. Although I do constantly say that UK viewers should not be watching this channel anymore, and they shouldn't be trading on leverage either, because what I don't want to do is entice UK people to do it, because your government thinks that they know better than you, and you better listen to the government and bow down to them, because apparently everyone in the UK is soft now. So there we go. Do you see Bitcoin going to 12k before taking out the high at 19.6k? Good question, Louise. I think it would make a lot of sense for Bitcoin to come down to 12k once more before wiping out that gain at 19.6. First of all, I don't think it's a given that Bitcoin is going to break the all-time high. I think it's very likely, but quite crucially, I'm not going to say that it's a guaranteed thing, because nothing is guaranteed inside of these markets. But am I looking at this happening or coming down to 12k? I think it would make a lot of sense for Bitcoin to dump down to 12k first. I think that this is a very, very important price level for Bitcoin, a very important support area for Bitcoin, and we haven't seen that big dump. Those of you who've been watching this live stream from the beginning will remember when I was talking to you about how Bitcoin gets these really big sell-offs every couple of months usually, and we haven't had one of them for quite a while now. So because we haven't had a big seller for quite a while, I am on edge. I think that there's a lot of opportunity to see big sell-offs in this market at the moment, and what that means, in my opinion, is that yeah, this thing is going to potentially, just as far as market cycles go and characteristics of this market go, I think it would make a lot of sense for a big sell-off to be coming for this market. And whether that happens now that we go down to 12k, or if we go up to 17 first and then down to 12k, or if we go to the all-time high and then down to 12k, in any case, I think we're going to be coming down to one of these significant support areas before we break the all-time high. It would just be very weird if we didn't. And this is, of course, assuming that we will break the all-time high. That is also not a given. We don't know that for sure. Obviously, it looks likely at the moment, but it also looked likely back here. And guess what happened? So, these markets can always shock you, and that's why I don't like to play on ideas of, well, yeah, Bitcoin's definitely going to break the all-time high, and that's why I never even consider questions like what's going to happen in the middle of next year to Ethereum, because that is way too far away, and there are way too many variables. The nature of that kind of question, Matthias, is that you are actually asking 100 different questions at the same time. In order to forecast what's going to happen in June of 2021, you first need to find out what's going to happen in December, January, March, February, April, and all that before you get to June. And if you don't do that, I don't think you're doing that analysis correctly. But the problem with it is you're now multiplying probabilities, because you don't know what's going to happen in December and you don't know what's going to happen in January, but you're trying to predict each of these things at the same time. All I try to do is to predict the very next move. And that means I have a lot less work to do. I have a lot less room to fuck up, basically. There is a lot less opportunity for me to get something wrong if I'm only trying to guess what the exact next thing in the market is. And at the moment, I am hoping that, we kind of come down to these support areas, but I've been hoping that for months now. I start sounding like an idiot. Quite crucially, I think if we do end up breaking above the market, above the resistance, I think that we're going to shoot up to at least $17,000. If we do enter a sideways trading range, I'd be very, very happy with that. These are what I see as the next moves inside of this market, and anything beyond that just becomes too unpredictable. Anyone who's studied math will remember studying probabilities, and when you multiply two probabilities together, your odds of both things happening go down quite a lot. It's like calculating how likely are you to flip heads 5 times in a row. You are extremely unlikely to do that, but flipping heads just once, you're 50-50. That's those are quite good odds compared to, let me actually, I'm curious now, what is that? That's 0.5 to the power of 5. Your chances of flipping heads 5 times in a row are 3%. So very, very low compared to 50%. That's why I only try to predict the next move, not the next 5 moves, because it's stupid. It's very, very dangerous and difficult to do it, in my opinion. Let's see what some of these indicators are saying. Someone's talking about hash ribbons. I don't know what hash ribbons are, but I'm guessing you're talking about these EMA ribbons. These are a very good show of momentum in the market. And over here, we can see that since the 12th of October, which is a month ago, nearly, Bitcoin has been seeing really nice support off the 4-hour exponential moving average ribbon that I have on this chart. This is a good show of where momentum is in the market, and it shows us that momentum at the moment is very strong, and it has actually supported Bitcoin higher, which I am very, very impressed by. This definitely supports the idea that I mentioned to you near the beginning of this live stream, where we could end up where we could end up trading higher, first in a symmetrical triangle and then trading higher. I think that would make a lot of sense. And if Bitcoin is able to continue to respect this exponential moving average ribbon, then I would definitely expect it to, kind of find some support in this area and just continue to show us that the market with momentum on its side really, really does still look like it's biased to the upside. I'm very, very impressed with that. Pasha is saying not EMA ribbons. She or he wants me to look at hash ribbons. I don't know what hash ribbons are, so I'm not going to do that. On the 1 hour time frame, let's see what we've got here. This is not reliable, so I'm not going to look at this. This doesn't seem to have much backing. The 1 day time frame, this one is reliable in my opinion, but we haven't come down to test it yet. So this is quite far away from price action even now. And it hasn't been hugely reliable actually across this year. 2020 started over here, and it's been okay, but not extremely useful. Beautiful comment from one of our viewers. Like and subscribe. Make sure to do that. Let's get these likes a little bit higher. And if you are new to this channel, then thank you for reminding me, by the way. Please do subscribe to this channel so you can keep gaining access to these videos as soon as they are published. You don't want to miss out on it. Obviously, the best analysis ever. So don't let yourself miss out on it. Do yourself a favor. Do your wallet a favor. Keep watching this channel. Subscribe to it so that you can keep gaining access to these videos as soon as they're out. What else have we got? Okay, hash dumping is when miners are dumping hash ribbons. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to look at what miners do. I've never really cared, to be honest. So I'm not going to do any analysis on that. Do we have any final questions? If not, I am going to be rounding off this stream. I'm not doing an extremely long one like last time. We don't have we don't have as much to talk about in this one as we did last time. Symmetry asking a very good question. Why $12,000? $14,000 is the major support. So a couple minutes ago, I was talking to you about how I strongly suspect Bitcoin is going to, fall down to $12,000, whether it happens from here or from $20,000 or from $17,000. I do expect we're going to hit 12K, but Symmetry is asking why 12K and not 14? Because 14, where is 14? 14 is the important support level. It's a bigger support level than 12. And that's a very good point. I agree with you. It is a bigger support level, and really it could be either of them. I don't really know. And it doesn't matter hugely, because the overall point is that we get a retracement. How deep it cuts is important, but not as important as the fact that I still want to see a retracement, and at least we're going to get one. So whether we go down to 14K or we drop all the way down to 12K doesn't really matter to me. I do think that 14 is a more significant support area, but I mean, it also depends on where Fibonacci levels line up. It depends on a couple different things. If it happens to be that, and this is going to be difficult to show you, but let's see if I can, draw Fibonacci from here. We can see that there's no Fibonacci lining up with 13K or 14K. If we top out at 17K, then we have a beautiful Fibonacci retracement, the 236 level, sitting at $14,000, and the 382 level sitting at $12,000. So I mean, in this case, it depends on, like, let's say we do end up rallying up to $17,000 and now we're dipping lower. Well, I think quite commonly we will end up falling down to either the 382 level or the 618 level. And as you can see on this chart, both levels are very, very strong, have very, very strong holds on the market, right? The 618 level is an extremely influential pivot point in the market, $8,800, a very, very important point on the market. And by the way, it would be beautiful if we dropped this low. What would this loss be? I'm curious. This would be a 47% loss. That would be quite big. I think it would be really, really good if Ethereum dropped this low. Sorry, if Bitcoin dropped this low, because it would mean that Bitcoin really has a very, very comprehensive chance to shake people out. Although the thing is, if this rally does continue to move in sensible, healthy ways, we won't need to drop that low. And so actually, we might end up just going down to the other, what I would consider to be important Fibonacci level, which is the 382 retracement area. And that is smack bang right on top of the 12,000 support area. And that really, really excites me. It is, the other Fibonacci level does also line up with $14,000. So it's really down to interpretation. But as I said, I really generally think that the market will retrace down to this Fib retracement, down to the 382 one. And when you consider that, yes, I agree with you, Symmetry, both areas are very important, but 14K is more significant. The thing is, 12K is still quite significant. It's not like the difference between, 16K, which is just a completely random level where, I don't think there's any reason to expect resistance here, and then 14K. 12K is still an important level in the market. It's not as important as 14 in my opinion, but still an important level. So it depends on what the trend does up to that point. It depends on how fast we rise up to that point, where we rise up to, depending on where this Fibonacci retracement ends up getting pulled, I think is really going to influence where I might expect Bitcoin to find a pullback down to. So that's what I'm looking at. But in any case, I'm absolutely not worried, because the overall picture here stays exactly the same. Yes, the market's going back to the title. The markets have dried up a little bit. They are trading a little bit slower at the moment, but we have nothing below us apart from support levels. And that always really, really excites me, because it shows me that there is nothing I would expect Bitcoin to do at the moment other than continue its uptrend. I just want to see it do it in as healthy a way as possible, because I don't want to see Bitcoin dropping all the way down to $10,000, for example, which is what would happen if Bitcoin ended up dropping by that standard kind of 35% when it's in a parabolic run. Once again, I want to address the comment where somebody said we're not in a parabolic run. Yes, we absolutely are. We haven't even had a single pullback throughout this trend. I don't know if you want to count this as a pullback. This was substantial. Let me measure this. This was 10%. So I mean, it is a pullback, but we haven't had one on a long time frame. Like, we haven't had a pullback that lasted a couple of days, for example, or I should say even a week. We haven't had a long-term pullback, and we haven't had a deep pullback. So this is absolutely the definition of a parabolic run. It's very similar to what we saw over here, or what we saw over here. I mean, literally Google the word parabola, and we are in one right now. We are in a parabola at the moment. So that is very much something that I'm concerned about. And if we can start to clean this up and do this in some safer ways, I would be very, very happy with that. All right, do we have any final questions for this market? Sorry, for this live stream. If we do, then let me know. Edward's asking, when is the offer open till? Not going to be revealing that, but it is temporary because of the price being so high. And just another point, by the way, we actually, I mean, pretty much throughout, the time that VIP has been open, we haven't really changed the price of VIP. There was a brief time where we actually increased it. We increased our base prices by about 50%. And obviously we still saw a lot of demand, but we've moved it back down to where it was before, and we haven't really changed it ever since VIP opened. So I don't plan on decreasing it either. So this discount is a very, very good opportunity to get into the market. The nature of this is, I mean, the market will typically reflect how exciting VIP is to be in. And at the moment, with the market being so juicy, I definitely think that now is the time to be in the group. A lot of people have also taken that approach and just slain these markets. I really should have. Let me see if I can actually pull up some of those new testimonials. They are in the staff group chat, but I just haven't. I've literally just not even brought them on. Let me see. I haven't even seen some of these because my assistant replied to some of these people. But yeah, here we go. This is a good one. I actually read this one as well, and I responded to him with a voice message after this, I believe. Yeah, I did. This member over here, he was the guy with the 25 Bitcoin typo. Right now, this guy's sitting in a beautiful 173% profit. His stop loss is in place, with the worst case scenario being at 91% profit, which is just absolutely beautiful. This person really has seen a very big improvement in his trading since he entered VIP, with a guaranteed 90% profit, and then already staring down the barrel of 173% profit. These are big gains. This member is also a lifetime member in VIP. We don't do the lifetime plan anymore, by the way. We only have a yearly plan, but it's still well. The reason we changed it is because too many lifetime members would have renewed on our yearly plan if they had it. So it was a very bad business decision to offer a lifetime option, and obviously we're not going to remove it now. So we've just stopped offering it. And again, just kind of continuing from here. This person mentioning that he knew he had to change to become the part of the 5% to that actually make money within the trading game. He's mentioned that stories in one of my favorite books, Market Wizards, which by the way is in the description, echoed the words I've given inside of the VIP group. He's got his discipline now. He's taking profits on his Ethereum trade. I mean, this is just absolutely beautiful. And then the final part here, which I absolutely love. Very, very thankful to be reading this. Over the last year, you showed me several avenues to become successful. I'm also more disciplined and patient. I mean, this is such a powerful message. It encompasses so many different points. Not only is this person trading in a healthier way, he is also pulling big profits, and that is so impressive. So if you do want to gain access to the VIP group and see exactly how this person was able to do that with that very same offer with the yearly plan, which now also includes, by the way, lifetime members didn't get this before, but when we changed it to the yearly plan, we also included free access to our advanced trading academy. And that has been absolutely beautiful. It is over 10 hours of extremely in-depth content, literally teaching you everything I know about these markets inside of a course. It is so beautiful. You get so many extra benefits as a yearly member as well, which you can find out about by reaching out and following these steps right here. Drew Line mentioning, I will join Lifetime. I will join if Lifetime comes back. If you do want to join Lifetime and you're not interested in our yearly plan, for example, then just reach out and give me your best offer, and I'm happy to consider it. Probably won't say yes, but if it's a good offer, I'll definitely look at it. But I mean, like I said, it was a bad business decision to offer it in the past, and actually we've been around in some group, in some way or another. This whole FORFLIES Gold VIP thing has been around in some form or another for 3.5 years. So that's a lot of recurring revenue. So just being completely upfront with you at the moment, it's got to be a very good offer, but I am happy to consider it. So there you go. Very, very good results, very impressive things across the board within the VIP group. And if you want to see how I'm going to continue to tame these markets, play these markets for hopefully the next 3 years, I don't plan on going anywhere, then you can reach out. I'm already seeing your messages, by the way. A lot of people reaching out about VIP, and my assistant is here at the moment. He is replying to your messages, so you can reach out by following these steps right here. Just looking, are there any final questions that you want me to look at? A couple questions about random coins that I don't look at. I'm not going to look at Uni, for example. What else have we got? Yeah, I think the other thing I want to look at, by the way, is actually the S&P 500. The S&P 500 has seen a nice pump off this red box that I drew for you. I mentioned this was kind of make or break time, and if the S&P 500 was able to find support here, it could give it a path all the way up to all-time highs, and I think it's definitely now it's right on the way up to do that. However, there is uncertainty around that election, and there's just a whole lot of reasons to expect that this is actually going to be a second lower high on this chart. And actually on Monday, when this market reopens, when this index reopens, it's actually going to drop lower. I think that would make a lot of sense. I'm not so keen on saying that this index is going to continue to trade all the way up to all-time highs. I don't know if that's if that's definitely the case, and it's very, very hard for me to say at the moment. So that's what I'm looking at the moment in this market. I'm it's difficult to say, but if this does break to all-time highs, then again, it's all-time highs. That's unprecedented territory. There is no technical analysis you can do at that point. There is a little bit, but not as much technical analysis as you can do right now, and it does become more of a psychological game. It also becomes more of a fundamental ideological game, and that is not really what this channel is about. So that becomes a situation of, well, what do you think about the presidential election and a whole bunch of stuff like that, and I don't really dive into that on this channel, but that's the territory that this index will start to step into if we do break all-time highs. However, I think it will be beautiful for Bitcoin. I think it will be really good for coins like Link, and also I think it would also give YFI, for example, big reasons to continue rising higher. So there are a lot of important things to be watching on indices like the S&P 500, and I will continue to bring you that analysis on this channel as well. As usual, I'm also going to be trading these things, and VIPs will know exactly what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, with all of the exact details. Once again, this member over here who's been in the VIP group now, I believe since last year, really just completely turning around his trading, becoming such an amazing trader since joining VIP. Not only just, as he's saying here, being more disciplined and patient, establishing strict rules and changing the way he's trading to be part of the 5% that actually make money. Not only doing all of those more fundamental things, but also booking the sexy profits, and that is what really, really excites me about this person's journey. And it's such a common story that I see with VIP members. Like, not only do they become healthier traders, they're also now, for the first time ever, booking such big profits as well. And this is such a common result for people who really are very, very serious about trading when they join VIP. They really want to do it right, and they want a new, fresh approach where they want to use everything at their disposal, and there is so much available to you inside of the VIP group. This person's results actually are typical of somebody who really puts in effort, and that is something I'm very proud to say. So if you want to find out exactly what this person had access to, if you want to gain access to it yourself, then there you go. The steps to join VIP are right there. With that, I am going to be signing off. I hope you have enjoyed this live stream. If you have, once again, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel if you are new to this channel. There is a lot of very, very interesting analysis that you're going to continue to receive from me over the next couple of days, weeks, and months, on this market. This market keeps surprising everybody and being extremely fun to analyze and trade, and I'm going to continue to bring all of my analysis to you as time goes on, so make sure you don't miss that. Hope you have enjoyed this one though, and with all of that, I'm out. End of the live stream here. Good one. Very, very good one. I'm happy with this. All right.